So, another eventful week has ended. We had numerous activities in the Catholic Church. I'll try my best to bring as many stories as possible from the Universal Church. This is Faith in Society. I am Delphine Asu. Stay tuned. Members of the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops have clarified that their engagement with national issues is pastoral, not political. In a statement issued recently, the bishops rejected claims linking them to an alleged political movement described as a government in waiting. They insist their interventions flow from their responsibility as shepherds to address moral, ethical, and governance concerns. The bishops reaffirmed their non-partisan stance, demanded a public apology from an online publication, and warned of legal action if the report is not withdrawn. The auxiliary bishop of Wote Diocese, Bishop Simon Peter Kamomoy, has warned politicians against disrespecting places of worship, describing such actions as mocking God. Reacting to reported chaos during a church service in Nyeri, the bishop condemned what he called growing contempt for church sanctuaries. He urged leaders to respect the holiness of worship places, drawing lessons from Blessed Benedict Daswa. The bishop also cautioned against idolatry, superstition, and reliance on political power over faith. Formators in Africa have been urged to rethink how candidates are discontinued from formation amid concerns that harsh expulsions are creating hostility toward the church. I agree. Speaking at a Pact Pan webinar in Kenya, Father Stan Chu Ilo warned that decisions lacking compassion and dialogue leave lasting wounds. He called for a synodal relational approach rooted in listening, healing, and love. He further stressed that formation should prioritize healthy relationships, human dignity, and spiritual growth over rigid systems and rule-based judgments. The Catholic Diocese of Bafata in Guinea-Bissau has opened celebrations marking 25 years of its establishment with strong calls for reconciliation, dialogue, and peace. Presiding at the opening mass, Father Augusto Mutna Tamba urged citizens to let faith shape the nation's social and political life amid ongoing instability. He raised concerns about political prisoners, weak public services, and social hardship, calling reconciliation a daily commitment. The Jubilee year features pastoral, cultural, and social activities across the diocese and will conclude in April with a Thanksgiving celebration. Congratulations. The Catholic Bishop of Sekondi Takoradi Diocese in Ghana, John Baptist Atakoro, has reminded the faithful that every vocation, including marriage, is a lifelong call from God. Speaking during the celebration of Consecrated Life Day at Divine Redeemer Parish, the bishop emphasized that vocation is rooted in faith, hope, and service, not wealth or physical beauty. He encouraged religious to renew their commitment to gospel values through lives of prayer, poverty, chastity, and obedience. Bishop Atakro also urged young people to consider religious life, noting that it offers a deeper purpose beyond material pursuit. Catholic bishops in Sierra Leone have raised alarm over a growing wave of violent attacks targeting Catholic clergy and mission properties across the country. In a joint statement, the bishops of Kenema, Bo, Makeni, and the Archdiocese of Freetown condemned what they described as a chain of attacks following a January 27 armed robbery that left a priest seriously injured. They highlighted recent incidents in Kenema Diocese, including the murder of Reverend Father Augustine Amadou last August and the violent assault on Father James Joshua Jamiru. The bishops warned that continued insecurity could fuel vigilantism and urged the government to take urgent action to protect lives and church property. Catholic dioceses across the Democratic Republic of Congo have marked the 2026 World Day of Consecrated Life with solemn liturgies, candlelight processions, and renewed calls to fidelity and mission. Celebrations were held in Luebo, Lubumbashi, Kasongo, Kalemi, Kirungu, Bukavu, and Kindu, bringing together members of Institutes of Consecrated Life and Societies of Apostolic Life. Church leaders emphasized consecration as total self-giving to God, urging religious to remain faithful, humble, and missionary in a challenging world. The chairman of the Commission for Clergy and Religious Liaison at the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops has encouraged members of Institutes of Consecrated Life and Societies of Apostolic Life to remain joyful and steadfast in their vocation. In a message marking the 30th World Day for Consecrated Life, Bishop Hieronymus Joya described consecrated life as an essential path for the Church today, calling religious men and women living memorials of Jesus Christ. The Bishop of Maralal Diocese urged them to find new ways of sharing love, hope, and joy while renewing their commitment to communion, synodality, and shared mission. He further encouraged religious to rediscover the joy of their calling and remain signs of light and hope in today's world. The president of the Symposium of Episcopal Conferences of Africa and Madagascar, Fridolin Cardinal Ambongo, has expressed solidarity with communities across Southern Africa devastated by floods, especially in Mozambique. In a recent message, the Cardinal described the disaster as a stark reminder of human vulnerability and called for urgent international support. He urged governments, humanitarian agencies, and people of goodwill to assist displaced families lacking basic necessities and help affected communities rebuild their lives. The appeal comes as flood-related deaths in Mozambique rise above 100, with hundreds of thousands displaced and growing concerns over cholera and other waterborne diseases. The Interregional Meeting of Bishops of Southern Africa, also known as IMBISA, has appealed for urgent support for flood victims in Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. In a solidarity statement, the bishops praised Pope Leo XIV for expressing closeness to those affected by weeks of torrential rainfall. IMBISA called on humanitarian organizations, governments, and people of goodwill to assist communities facing deaths, displacement, and massive infrastructure damage. The bishops warned that the scale of destruction across the region has overwhelmed national response capacities. Catholic Bishop Eduardo Hiboro Kosala of the Diocese of Tambura Yambio in South Sudan has called on clergy and religious communities to urgently promote local vocations to the priesthood and religious life. Speaking during the 2026 World Day of Consecrated Life, which coincided with the diocese's Religious Day, Bishop Hiboro warned that a church without local vocations is fragile and unsustainable. He stressed that consecrated life exists not to maintain institutions but to secure the future of the church. The bishop expressed concern that some religious communities have served in South Sudan for over 25 years without recruiting locals, insisting that this must change. He pledged to personally follow up the matter as a pastoral responsibility. The first ever youth synod jointly organized by the Leadership Conference of Consecrated Life of Southern Africa and Lesotho has brought together consecrated persons and young adults from 5 countries. Held from January 30th to February 1st in South Africa, the synod gathered participants from Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, South Africa, and Zambia. The 3-day meeting focused on synodality, youth participation, and formation in ministry, inspired by Pope Francis' vision of a synodal church. Salesian priest Vincent Clement said the goal was to place young people at the heart of the church and minister with them, not just for them. Participants described the synod as renewing, inclusive, and a strong model for young ministry across the region.